So
like
apparently the government invited a bunch of influencers,
American
TikTokers, American TikTokers,
Okay.
to give them the right information about the war in Ukraine,
So they can relay that information.
so they don't spread fake information and fear and etc. etc.
Okay.
So they have the right information.
That's crazy.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for
Hey,
being
guys.
here with us. It's another day in paradise. So today we decided to talk about Russia.
Russia.
Scary.
Scary
Okay.
stuff, especially nowadays.
Actually, you know what? It's actually interesting to know that YouTube. I realized that YouTube is demonetizing, which is not our problem. In case we we reach 50 views, but it demonetized some keywords and some themes like COVID. I can say them because we apparently if you talk about COVID, it
But
can
talk
demonetize you.
or is it in the captions and stuff?
Because it says that if you scare people, you create fear, etc. They and anxiety, they demonetize you, and also Russia, etc. First thing I want to say about Russia,
Привет.
sorry, привет, да, is I don't know if you heard, but the U.S. government invited influencers, namely TikTokers, to give them legitimate and real information about the war in Ukraine. Yeah, did you hear about that? No?
No, never.
Okay. So
like
apparently the government invited a bunch of influencers,
American
TikTokers, American TikTokers,
Okay.
to give them the right information about the war in Ukraine,
they can relay that
so they don't
information.
spread fake information and fear and etc.
Okay.
So they have the right information.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. Imagine if the Russian government did the same thing. What would we say? It's propaganda.
Of course.
And when the American government is doing it, we just want to make sure they have the right information. First of all, I mean, I love the fact that you didn't know about it, because I'm gonna get your fresh impressions about it. But when I heard about it a couple days ago, I thought, wait a second. So they think that the TikTokers are really dumb, like they cannot get their own information. We need to tell them what to think, or they can watch the news. They can make their own mind, and even if they're wrong, who cares? I mean, obviously, they influence a lot of people, so it has a big impact. But this is the modern way to spread news.
I think that people take more information from anything that's linked to something that is
from influencers. They take a lot of news from
anything
influencers.
that's like from entertainment and stuff like that, and basically using them as a tool to kind of spread information, whether it's legitimate or not. They're not there for that, you know what I mean? So
but
it's propaganda in any way you look at it.
But they do. A lot of people consume news from those talk shows and those influencers and on social media, etc. I think a lot of people consume news not only by watching the news or reading newspaper, but also by alternative media.
That's more traditional media where you kind of like schedule stuff, and usually social media is like the communities that are following this influencer, that influencer are generally niche. Either you look at them to have fun, to see a certain sport, to see a certain hobby, whatever it is, but to take that and try to shape information on a very specific subject. We're not like, okay, we're gonna give them the news of the day where they're gonna talk about this and what happened in this and what happened in this. No. It's like, this is what we need to kind of like have the American people
control the information.
Exactly. Get from Russia. This is what is going on in Russia. Look at what they're doing. Probably providing images as well,
Yeah.
or things like that.
Yeah.
So, like, there's always two sides to a story, but there's clearly one side that's
Prevailing.
that's looking like and smelling like propaganda.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, to be honest. And do you think that TikTokers should have refused this invitation?
No, because what do you need to know about? They should, yes, but what you need to know about TikTokers and influencers and things like that is that they are looking for the content that generates
Exactly.
the most
Views.
interest, likes, whatever metrics
Yeah.
you want to use, and nothing is hotter than than this subject, you know.
But
Like-
also, listen, if you are invited to the White House, like, hell yeah, you will go. Like, it would make great content. So if I were them, yeah, I would go. But then I would try to, get what they tell me as one point of view, just one. Hey, it's something interesting. You listen to them. They tell you, okay, this is what we think is going on, etc., etc. But nothing is forbidding you to go to other source of media and getting your own opinion and
Definitely.
balancing things out. I'm not saying what the American government is going to say is necessarily wrong. I'm just saying that it seems a little bit pushy to invite them to tell them the truth. Well, they can see the news, they can read newspaper, they can go on different websites that they trust, and they can forge their own opinion. Like, the fact that you bring them it shows like this is the new way of doing things. Like,
Well,
the
at
government
best-
understands that this
At
is
best, they would say we're not trying to guide people, but at best they're amplifying. At worst, it's propaganda.
yeah.
So either way, I don't see why a TikToker that dances all day would at some moment come to me and tell me, oh, by the way, look what is happening in Russia or Putin did this. Because one of the things that is like mind blowing about this whole Russia thing, I get politics, I get war, I get that some people are in the right, some people are in the wrong. But there's too many things that are not linked to all of that stuff that have consequences. We're talking about people like Abramovich, owner of Chelsea, that have been... He's losing his club because he's close to Putin. We're talking about players of the club that are not playing well, that don't know if they have a future, because we're talking about athletes that cannot compete. We're talking about actors that are removed from roles. We're talking, why would any one of those guys pay for a country just because they're
A government, and namely
like,
Putin is doing.
it makes no sense, especially for people in sectors and stuff that have nothing to do with his politics.
I mean, I agree. I watch tennis quite a lot, and I just saw that the big Russia is a big country for tennis. Like they have like they always have had like great tennis players, and top 10, top 5, and even top ones. Like the number one players. Many of them have been Russians throughout the years, and now they banned them from the Wimbledon, which
Crazy.
is one of the
So you're
biggest
telling
tournaments.
me we're doing one of the biggest competition of the year,
And we have the
without-
number one
without the
tennis
number
player,
one.
exactly, who's a Russian.
so let's determine who's the best tennis player. Let's remove the best tennis player and determine who is the best.
Okay, now
Man,
let's
come on,
determine. I mean, like,
Makes no sense.
what do they have to do with it? Nothing. I mean, even they say, oh, the oligarch, are we gonna
And-
remove their boats, and like they have yachts, and we're gonna.
If
like,
you can prove they have a hand in something shady, whatever it is,
Exactly.
okay. That means that if tomorrow your government, whether it's the US or this,
yeah.
does something, and you have nothing, you're on the other side of the globe.
you
know?
don't even go there.
And you go to your job and they tell, hey, you're from there,
Yeah.
you're fired.
yeah, because your
It's
president is doing this and is doing that. But
I'm
do
not
you
his
think
son.
he comes to me and he says, "What do you think, Paco or Jawad? Do you think he want?" Like, this is
Oh my
ridiculous.
god, man.
But yeah,
Ridiculous.
they are banning them. And what's interesting, we talked about in another in an episode of Le Foutoir, which is a French
Mhm.
podcast about soccer. We talked about politicizing soccer, and you could not say anything politically correct or incorrect, for that matter, about any country. For example, free Tibet, free Palestine, I love Ukraine, I love Russia, proud to be Russian,
Yeah,
or
it
whatever.
should
You
be
cannot say
separated.
anything
Yeah.
about it. So you think it should be separated, but in my opinion, I differ with you on this one. I think either we separate them and we say no politics,
Yeah,
zero,
or
you
every-
say whatever you want. Who cares?
Yeah, because right now we're in a place where some things like the exact same things, but some things we accept,
Yeah.
some things that are completely wrong, and like banning. If I can get that you ban if you're representing the country, Russia is doing bad stuff. You want to touch them or whatever. If you're representing Russia, I can get like I'm not. It's not my
Well,
personal opinion, but I can get that you want to punish the country. It's part of the country.
Well, yeah, every player is part of the.
But as an individual, punishing them at the club level, punishing them in their
Yeah,
and
but
other levels, like it makes no sense.
don't they represent like the number one player, tennis player in the world? Doesn't he represent Russia also?
Not always. Like in the
Not
Olympics,
always, but
like for instance in the Olympics,
I
he's
understand.
team Russia.
Yeah.
In Wimbledon, he's not team
He's
Russia.
not team Russia, he's team himself.
He's team himself. So those are two separate things. And I think that if you represent a country, I can get it. I'm not saying I'm for it, but I can get it because it's part of the entity. That's the entity that's financing you. That's the entity that is you're linked to it.
Yeah, I disagree with you on this one. I know what you said. I know you said you don't necessarily like agree with it, but you can understand it. Me, I cannot understand it personally. to be honest.
Financing it.
Still, Putin is not financing it. Like, I'm an athlete. My job is an athlete. I don't
No,
care about
if-
politics. My team, my Olympic team is qualified to the Olympic Games. I want to go. Oh, yeah, no, your president said this, but I didn't say anything. So why do you punish the team? Like, yes, the Russian government is paying for it. The government money is not Putin money. It's people, it's taxes. I pay taxes for roads, for athletes.
Yeah, but what you need to understand.
I'm gonna knock down everything.
What you need to understand is that we don't care if it's Putin or the country because it's the same thing.
I understand.
Like
Okay.
it's not Putin attacking Ukraine; it's Russia attacking
But
Ukraine.
do you put the athletes in the same bag, though?
When they represent the country, in
They
a way,
represent the
yes.
country all the time. I'm sorry. I disagree with you.
No,
strongly
I'm
on this
talking
one.
in an official matter. Of course, they
Yes.
represent in all the time.
Yes.
Like I don't know, take any type of individual that has official state, a policeman
Yeah.
or anything else. It's one thing when you're in service, and another thing when you're not. You're always a policeman.
Yes.
But when you're in service, that's even worse. So if you want to put it in a way where okay, we want to punish anything that's officially linked to Russia, I'm not for it, but I can understand it. But punishing it when it's completely separated, no.
I don't know. So let me go over it very quickly. So you think for the Olympic team,
Mm-hmm.
they should not play? Like, you understand if they are banned because their president is declaring war, or their government or their country is declaring war against another country.
I don't understand it because then there's another debate who determines if a country can or cannot.
Exactly.
You know, if
Who's to
all the
judge?
countries are saying, okay, we don't want Russia to be represented, then okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like if they all think that, then it's like the majority. That's
But it
democracy.
would not.
you
It
know,
would not be fair. You know.
it would not be fair for the athletes.
Absolutely, because they
I'm
have nothing to do
100%.
with it.
I'm
They don't care about
100%.
politics, but they are banned anyways.
But where I don't agree is that there's no way that you can punish the athlete at an individual level, or the owner of a club. Chelsea is one of the biggest clubs in England.
In Europe,
London
man.
club, European like powerhouse
Empire, yeah.
that has players from all over the globe and superstars and all of that. You're like, okay, we're gonna take the owner, freeze his assets, freeze the club, can't do any transfers, can't do anything. Why? Because the guy has a picture of him shaking his hands with Putin. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it's. I think we make some shortcuts that shouldn't definitely not be made, and yeah, I definitely think that the situation is. So see, you didn't answer your brother. Now he's calling me. Right?
Well, sorry, bro.
That's okay.
but
We'll keep
We're
it. We'll
talking
keep
about
it.
Putin right now.
Anyways, I think I think that some athlete should, and again, I was almost gonna say athletes should stay athlete because they have nothing to do with politics, because maybe they disagree with the decision.
Exactly.
But what if they agree with the decision?
That's their right.
They are, but we still judge them as athletes. When I come
but,
and see,
I'm
and
sorry.
see-
Like, if a French athlete today says, "What's happening in Ukraine," I'm, I kind of agree with Russia.
yeah. So what?
Are you gonna ban him from playing?
Are you gonna ban the French team?
The French team probably would ban him, but any other country would say
Yeah.
it's free speech. You know, like.
It is free speech, and
And you're entitled to your opinions as an individual and all
Absolutely.
that stuff. If you want to ban, like, basically, a country like America wants to ban Russia, like, wants to give sanctions, economic sanctions, stuff like that. If I would understand anything that's officially linked to that represents Russia as an entity, I can understand that you kind of like separated. Like a lot of countries would say, oh, if I don't know, you see Israel and Palestine, for instance, or other countries that have conflicts.
China
they
and
say,
Tibet,
they say,
et cetera,
oh,
et
if
cetera.
these people are participating, I'm not,
yeah,
or things like that.
Then
Those are
don't.
like political stages, and usually, even when they do that, they rather take out the little guy and leave the most important.
the big customer, the big fish.
But at an individual level, freezing assets of people because this it's uncalled for.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if that guy was such a bad guy for many years and embezzling
why
money and
did you
stuff,
let him do that?
why did it take Putin to do something before you do anything
I
about
agree.
it? So,
I agree, man. I agree.
so it's just ridiculous at some point.
It is ridiculous, and individuals are not responsible for what their leaders are doing.
Exactly.
And their leaders are not responsible for what their like some of their citizens are doing. If I do something crazy, I don't represent Morocco, and Morocco doesn't represent me all the time. It's not that easy. Like I am
Exactly.
Moroccan, but I'm
And
also
you're not always backing what your country
what your
does.
government is doing. Yeah,
You don't
absolutely.
always back what is happening in your country. There's a lot of problems everywhere in the world. Some things are good, some things are bad, and some things we don't have a hand on. But imagine being punished or having consequences for every single thing that
Yeah.
a government or any official
Officials.
might say or do.
That is
In
crazy.
that case, why didn't we stop all American products when Trump as president was doing a bunch
Crazy
of shitty
things.
stuff?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, makes no
And you
sense.
know, when it says sports competition, we are judging the athletes. We are not judging his political views. So if he's the best tennis player, he should be playing against the best and see who is the best of the best. Like, we don't care about if he is a nice guy, if he is
Exactly.
if he thinks, if he votes left, if he votes right. Who cares? Like we are here to judge, to see a tennis match. We are here to see a soccer game. We are not here to judge what he thinks politically or what his country is doing.
Well, we come back to always that stuff. That should we separate the man from the craft? You know,
Yeah.
like right now, this is an issue that is like a political issue that is on very high levels. You can like sanction like big economic entities because there's like real impacts and it's ways of pressure and stuff. But coming after like like telling an athlete you can't do your job,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know, like,
exactly.
or going into a company and saying, "Oh, you're Russian, get the fuck out."
Exactly. That's stupid.
No,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
there is also a big hypocrisy. Like, why didn't you do it before? Like, Chinese
Because
are
it's
with the
always like that.
Uyghur,
It's always like that.
with
Yeah.
Tibet and etc. Why don't you ban them? Oh, because it's a superpower. Okay, Russia is also a superpower, but now you decide, oh well, actually everybody is against Russia, so we have
Well,
to
look
show
at
our
Europe,
support.
bro. Europe. Did
Yeah.
you see a bit what they were saying about bringing refugees into Europe,
Yeah, yeah,
comparing them to Syrians and
yeah.
other
That
countries?
was
They were
very
like,
interesting. Very
oh, but
interesting.
these guys, these are good refugees, you know,
Because
like
they look like
they
us.
look like us, they drive cars like us,
Yeah.
you know, and they can, you know, they won't like ruin the landscape, you know, like
That's
they're
crazy.
blonde and
Yeah.
stuff. Come on, man. And
Uh,
you're saying that, and they were
yeah.
saying that on live television,
Yeah.
like
Like
as
nothing
if
happened.
nothing
Yeah.
happened, and people were on that same TV set
Everybody's
saying, "Oh
like,
yeah,
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 yeah, I
yeah."
concur, I concur.
It's not
yeah.
the same refugees. The other ones are also running away from bombs, but you know, they're jogging, not
But
running.
you know what's funny is that
Hell.
he made it those reporters, they made it look like they have a big heart. Like, we need to save those people. They are like us. Come on, guys, wake up. We need to save them.
And it's the same guys.
They
that
are the
say-
same as us. Like,
No,
not
those
those
guys are the exact
Arabs.
same ones that say it's not our problem. If
Yes.
they have problems running away from bombs, well,
Yeah.
they can go find refuge in
Yes,
other countries.
somewhere
It's
else.
not our
That's
responsibility
crazy.
to
That's
help
crazy.
other countries.
Yeah.
So, well, it's just the fucked up world we live
Absolutely.
in.
Before we
You know?
finish, I saw something really interesting. Ukrainians
Yeah.
are beautiful people, physically. And one man, most of them,
We
of
can
course,
say that, of course.
And one man,
Mhm.
French guy, he accepted a refugee in his house, and she is banging hot,
Yeah.
and he's not at all. so, so they said they invited him in a French show. It's called Touche pas à mon poste,
Mhm.
and they said. They were just sitting one next to another, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, of course he will accept her." And he was really, really cool about it. He said, "Yeah, I'm ugly. I'm average at best. She is banging.
Mhm.
She wanted help. Why not? You might as well, right?" But when you look deeper into the story, so he actually she's divorced. She has a little kid, and he helped her. And actually, he knew her from before because he was a technician working for something. Like, he went to Ukraine a long time ago before this war, this invasion war, whatever you want to call it. We don't want to be banned, but whatever you want to call it. And so he was in touch with her and her friends before, so he was in that same group. And then he heard that she was in distress and that she needed help, and he said, "Yeah, sure, you can come with your kid." And he's
Yeah,
also
did he know what she looked like?
yes. This is always gonna follow him because she's really hot. And people said, this is why I kind of like that Touche pas à mon poste. Sometimes they are pretty funny and interesting because they really ask the question. And they said, "But come on, man, like, do you think you will have do you think this relationship, you are just helping her, or maybe you are expecting something else from this relationship?" And he danced around the question, and he said, "Well, I accepted her, and some of her friends will also come. I have a big house. I am alone. I am divorced also. I have a pretty big house. I'm not rich, but I have a pretty big house. I have a big apartment, and I don't want to see them under bombs, etc. So I accepted them. She will bring her son. She will bring her grandmother. She will bring many, many people. So, yeah, I'm accepting, and we all should do this." And they said, no, but do you expect something else from this relationship? And he said, "Well, I don't know. I mean, for now, I'm just helping people to escape from war, etc., etc." And honestly,
Well, they should just ask him, like, if she was ugly, would you do it?
would you do it? That's the question.
And
But anyways, all right, let's leave it at that. Let's wrap it up for today. Thank you so much, Reda. It was a pleasure as usual.
as usual, man.
It's almost time to eat, right? It's
Yeah.
20 off, and we are eating in 20 minutes. This is Ramadan, of course, for people who don't know. And I will see you soon. All right?
Sounds
Take it
good.
easy. Ciao.
See you soon, guys.